Welcome back to the channel. If you remember, we put windows in this last fall. We didn't do every one. There's a transom window above the door. We got Tiger out here. Hi, Tig. You ready to go in? He's been out here scoping some birds. Quite a few birds out this morning, but it just rained. It's always raining. So I want to get this house painted. We haven't decided on a color. I mentioned it on YouTube. I got a few people commented. Still not sure on the color. Everything's brown. We got a brown roof, brown fascia, brown cedar, tongue and groove siding. I'm tired of the brown. The foundation is block, and I want to do foundation coating gray on that. Maybe charcoal, but a light gray, I don't know. And I want to take that light fixture down up there. That was temporary. We would need to move that. That railing up there in that second story deck off the bedroom. I want to take that railing off and maybe put in a metal, something that I can see through. I'd like glass, but I'm always worried about glass up high. And of course you got to wash glass. So there you go, right? I'm thinking of a gray, a green, a blue, kind of like Dawson's tiny house and his shed over there. Can't see through all these lilacs. But it's a pretty Pacific blue, and it's held up. Let's see, he's 18. He started building that when he's 12. So yeah, it's held up 6 years without any, almost 7, without any peeling or anything going on with it. And I think we did mold resistant, whatever. But the windows are white. We got PVC white trim, and we got caulk around them. And so I was thinking of leaving the windows white, obviously, taking the PVC trim face and doing the face a different color, and maybe do like a two-tone. The outside corners a color, say white, for example, gray, whatever we choose, and then the body of the paint another color. And that'll kind of, I don't know what the word is, kind of make this look a little more attractive. We do have some siding with a little bit of damage on them. There's a couple of them, there's more than a couple, but there's a few on them with some dry spots, a little bit of damage. I might be replacing some boards. We'll probably be caulking, filling, sanding, little repairs on stuff as we go. I'm going to use a lift. But today's project is to measure. And this house style is odd. It's kind of cool. That roof run there is over 60 feet. It's got a 2-car garage attached with a cathedral ceiling, so it's really high inside the garage on this side. It'd be nice if there was a lift on the left side. But anyways, it's like a salt box contemporary. I'm not sure. It's kind of a modern, I don't know what you call this style. The patio door up above, that's a sliding door. That's a Pella wood interior, vinyl exterior. I didn't replace that. I was thinking on taking the one that we have in the kitchen out and putting it up there, and taking that out, and then putting in a different type of door, maybe a larger one in the kitchen. I still haven't decided on that yet, but it doesn't really affect this paint job. I want to go through and I want to measure each wall, get my square footage. When you come up, it's a 412 pitch. When you come up and measure, you got to kind of figure your triangle. So there's a paint sale coming up at Sherwin-Williams. I believe he said it's 20 to 40% off. If it's a 40% off, it's a time to buy. I would like to figure out our color, and then I want to buy 5-gallon buckets, and that's going to be my best bang for the buck. But I don't want to overbuy, I don't want to underbuy, I want to buy at the same time. So like I said, I'm going to map this out, and it's very complicated measurements. So if it was a rectangle, it'd be super easy, like if you measured this up for vinyl siding, it's complicated. You end up with a lot of extra trims or whatever. So I'm going to go around and draw the house, and then I'm going to fill in the blanks with measurements. So for example, the little office there, you know, that might be 15, and then the vertical there might be like 22. I don't know what it is, but we'll write them down. We'll calculate our square footage. I'll probably add 10%. What do you think, Tig? You think I should add 10% on? He's a climber, so if I set up a ladder, he'll be up it. But we're going to use the lift on this as much as possible, and I could probably throw some boots on because we got some wet grass. I got to get out here, get this measured, get it calculated, submit it. I think there's an app for Sherwin-Williams. I'm not sure. I know Mastic Siding, I think, had one once where you could take your house, use your photo, change a color, and that's what I want to do. So I'm going to check with Erie Materials, find out if we can do something with that for vinyl, and kind of not tell them I'm going to paint it. I would like to vinyl this, but it's way more than buying paint. So the thing with the vinyl is I could put insulation on, say I don't know, some type of foam. There's already a Tyvek under it. It's got 5/8 plywood against 2x6 wall stud, 16 on center, and then it's got Tyvek, and then it's got 3/4 inch tongue and groove cedar. So I could probably gain another R, maybe 7, 5 or 7, 4, maybe 4 point something to 7 if I put foam on it. It might pay off, but I don't know if I want to invest that now. So we're going to do painting. I'm going to mark this up, get my square footages, and then I can submit, find out what's this going to cost for me to paint this. We got the squirrel that wants to go in, huh? Hi. He likes to eat every 20 minutes, so you got to let him in, and then he hollers to come back out if you're home. Okay, go on in. I use my rolling wheel to get my measurements. And here's an example. I did the rolling wheel, 46 feet. These aren't to scale. We got 8 foot at the garage side, 24 foot. We have a pitch of 4 and 12. So for every, you know, we can figure this up more exact if we weren't on the ground, but for every foot it goes up 4 inches. So if we have 8 foot here, and we can measure that because we're on the ground, we can calculate exactly if this is 22, 23, 26. I don't think it's that important for paint, because a lot of times when you're painting something, you'll need 2 coats. Some areas might take it better. Some areas might be dry, like the south side, and the west side might take more paint. So this is an average, you know. We're going to want to paint the ceiling on the porch, and I'm not sure what color, you know. If the old days they did blue for, you know, bees, thinking it's a sky, and they won't make a bee's nest, you know. So far we have no bees in there, so that's good. And I'm just not sure. The other thing I was going to mention is we have a brown metal roof, and it's hard to go with brown. If the roof was gray or black, then pretty much any color can go with it. So what I'm concerned about, if I do a gray body with a brown fascia, it'll look terrible. But if you back up and you can see that it's a gable trim, and on top you're not going to want the sidewall color like white or whatever we choose. So I'm wondering if I clean the fascia, the, you know, the vertical and the horizontal, and paint it white. And so in that case, if I do, if that's the color we choose, then I'm going to want probably an oil-based paint. But I'm going to check on that. That's, you know, Galvalume and aluminum, so it's things to think about. And right now it's got, I don't know if you can see it there, but it's got a vent, strip vent. If you can zoom in on it enough, but it's a little strip vent that's brown, and so I would probably want to paint all that, probably the fascia soffit color, and so spray painting that would be the best. Then we got to worry about wind and masking and, you know, all that kind of thing. But I think, you know, that's tough decisions on this, and I want it to stick, whatever I use. So I would have to clean it, and I don't think I'd have to scuff it up, but just make sure there's no pollen or any kind of issues on it. And there's a cable wire that goes through. They did kind of a sloppy job on the outside, but it goes up to that room, and we go wireless now, so I can pull that out and repair that. Like I said, there's a couple siding panels that are a little on the dry side. I don't know if we have to replace it or if we can just, you know, prime and paint and it kind of goes away. We'll see. And so a lot of details to think of when you're going to be painting and you want it to last. We want to use good quality. Here's a lilac. It never got any flowers on it this year. That's a bummer. It come on real nice and nothing. The irises, what do we got going on here? They got a little bit of frost on them by the looks. But here we got a nice purple one coming. Always had is rain. Look at this hosta. That's beautiful. That thing's going to come out nice. Back to our paint. So, like I said, we can figure this up, and I can do this on a calculator pretty quick. But if we get our square footage and we get within 10 square feet, we're pretty good. This is a west side. This is not all the west side. I'll show you why this is complicated. This is the carport. It's just 2x8 open rafters, and I want to put a ceiling in there. I haven't done it yet. Might be part of this project. Over here we've got a wood stove pipe making a mess on the wall. I am considering getting rid of that. Get rid of it totally. You're not supposed to have a wood stove in a garage, but I don't really park in there. I work in there sometimes, and it's all projects. There is a propane stove in there. I think I'm going to take that out. We put the vent in up there, and that's nice to vent sawdust or car fumes, whatever. There's another dry panel of siding right there. There's something going on above that door, almost like the siding is too long and they didn't keep a proper gap. So I might do a saw cut in there and keep at least 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch. We've got another porch here with an open ceiling. I painted the rafters brown because they look better at that time. And there's a door I'm thinking on replacing. The reason is they have 5-foot sliding patio doors in the house, and that's kind of small. You take 5 foot and divide it by 2. That's a pretty small opening, but they don't open fully, so you lose an additional couple inches, the width of that frame. So it's pretty tight getting in and out of there, and I'd like to put in a wide door, 3 or 4 foot. I'm going to see what I can find. A 3 foot would work if I did what am I trying to say? Maybe I want a storm door, so I might just do an exterior standard door, the in-swing, but something, and then I'll take this door and put it upstairs because I like the big glass. It makes the bedroom look really large with all that light. And these, I don't know if this is called wisteria. These look really nice. They don't have a scent yet, but they're going to be opening here in a couple of days. They got the porch here that needs a little tinkering on. I want to close in the base. I'd like to do a ceiling. The old birds had started making a nest a couple years ago, and there's mud up there. I got to clean that off. That's why I want to do a ceiling. If I do a ceiling, I want to do a light. So one project leads into a bigger project. I have a small hot tub out here. I kind of like to come out here. This is our grill and table. I'd like to come out here into a screen room and not be bothered, you know. And so I'm considering that. So this porch section might be kept separate off this paint job if I do that. We have our propane tanks over here. I don't like 4 of them. They're kind of ugly. You don't see them from anywhere else but this side. I'd like one of them long hot dog tanks to move it out from the house. I might consider that. And see, here's our complication. Like, this is the west side, but we got south, west, we got southwest, and we got west. So there's a lot of angles, a lot of things to figure on. And So this is, oh, I got the south showing you. So I get down here to the south side, there's more angles. This deck I want to do some work on, closing the bottom. This needs painting, whatever. I hate the railings they put on it. Too many posts, looks weird, but I don't know, it's different. I don't even use it. The sunroom is kind of neat. We don't use it a lot. It is nice in the winter to get the passive heat coming in. The chimney looks really nice coming down through there. Nice little room, actually. And it's got 2 entry doors on the inside, sliders that go into the house, so it's pretty cool looking. And then there's an angle, straight angle, and then it butts on the other side, and that's an angle. So that's why this job's a little bit complicated to measure up. You know, it's time consuming. And then we got here we got an east side, here we got a southeast side. And a few years ago, I had that other lift. I don't know if it was on the channel, I can't remember, but it was an electric lift. And of course, I struggled getting on the rough terrain in here. And we had a problem with a jib on it where it would loosen and turn. And it actually touched the side of the house when we were doing the roof. And it kind of freaked me out while I was in there, so I lowered it down slowly, trying to press it away from the house, and it left a scratch on the siding. So I'm going to sand that and do what I got to do to have that go away. And then there's a couple damaged little boards in there near that outlet because this drips right to there and splashes. It tends to stay wet. There's about 1.5 inch overhang off the steel on the fascia, but it's still not enough to get the water way out, you know. And that's about it. It's going to be kind of complicated to paint this without spillage, getting up in there, not, you know, scratching anything and not spilling it on the roof. We had the leaves just come on. You know, I think these are pretty nice trees here, but when the pollen comes down, look at all that debris on the roof. You get them seed pods and pollen, makes it slippery. So part of this job might be, you know, for me to stand up there and work, I might be pressure washing that porch or that sunroom roof just to stand up there. And then, let's see here, on the other side, like here's this cable, and there's a cable. I'd like one of these cables. I think that one can go away. That one has to stay, the main line. And then we got, what do we got here? We got this funky, you know, deck porch. We need a ceiling up there. That used to be open rafters, and so that deck was just an open deck, and it was foolish because in the winter months you get snow in there, and then it comes up almost onto the windows. You get snow drift up in there. So when I did the roof, we threw some OSB down, ice and water, and threw the roofing over it, and it darkened the house slightly, but there's no, you know, it stays nice and dry up there. You don't even get rain in there now, so that works out good. And then the deck has open rafters. It doesn't look too bad, but I'm considering if I do a ceiling on that like tongue and groove, I might do one right there too. That'll seal that area up. The other thing I'd like to do is get an outlet up there. And if I had an outlet, I could actually sit out there and have a, you know, cup of coffee and, you know, something, plug in your phone, kind of do a little chill area. But it overlooks the yard, and this rock setup here, you can't really see it till you're up in the air, but this is a heart. And the only thing I got growing in there is some chives. They're going crazy. But this is a heart-shaped rock wall. Kind of cool. Little fire pit. And then, of course, we got our rocks. But I want to make this look more modern. This is 1983, and I'd like to make this look more modern, more hip colors. You can see the block foundation. Nothing's cracked or anything. Nice dry basement. They parged it with, I don't know if they did fiberglass, but I'd probably want to, you know, skim coat it slightly, and then I'd want to paint that maybe a, you know, foundation gray. So it's a nice little project. I got to get my estimate going. On the porch, I put 4-inch recessed lights, which is kind of nice at night. But this porch, the same thing, as we're up here in the woods, you know, relatively peaceful. The neighbor had cut all them trees over there, so we get a little bit more road noise than we did before. But it's nice and peaceful, and I'd like to have screened in porches so I can actually take a nap out there if I'd like to, just kind of chill. So back to our paint, I'm going to figure up the square footages. So like in this case, you know, 5 foot wide, 24, that's easy to figure. The angles, you don't want to just go 24 by 12 because you're going to have too much paint. So I'm going to calculate each one and do the 412 pitch and get me an exact number, what I figure, and then I might add 10%. And if I buy it in 5-gallon buckets, I should be able to save a little money. If I get it mixed all the same time, it should be the same color. And I never want to buy by the gallon. It's such a rip. And some of this I'd like to spray on, and it depends on the weather. And you back out here again, Tiger? Yeah. Yeah. These guys like to come out, scope it out, go back in, get a snack, come back out again. A lot of maintenance, right? So I want to spray it, and then I'm going to brush it, or I might spray it and back roll it. And then, like I said, on the window trim, I might, what I like to do, because it's a time saver, I know if you say that's cheating, but do your body color, come right up to the edge and paint the side of the trim, the body color, and then roll the face your color. And that's so quick, and you know, you don't get all jittery and, you know, crooked lines and have to use mask and all that kind of stuff to get it taped off and blah blah blah. And yeah, so that's the project we got at hand. I'm going to figure this up. I got 4 pages of this, all the different sides of the house. Yeah, so here's the north side. These are easy to figure. And then I think there's another customer mixed in here, but here's the east side. This is more complicated. So there's a lot going on here. We've got a, you know, 6/8 and a 9, 17/22, 412. We got a 12, 13, and then we jut into that little atrium area. So there's a wall on this side at 6, a 7, and a 6. And then this is an angle, this is an angle, and this is a straight. Then we got the garage. So we got a 3, there's a 2-foot space and 8 foot, and then this runs up 24 foot at 4 foot. We got a lot to figure out here. And then what else here? We got going on to customer. Let's see what we got here. We got the south side. We got the chimney, the sunroom. We got all that going on. Then we have the west side. I only did the garage to the porch. I didn't do this wall, that wall, that wall, and that wall. That's on the previous page. So I got my homework. That we love the most is estimating. So for example, this is the north side of the house. So if I stand back here, this is the north side. We've got an entrance area, so it comes across to that office, back, and then across to the door. And then up above the roof, we've got that, you know, little 4 by 22, whatever it is up there. And then I want to write them down. And we got the carport here. That's 22, whatever that is, by 9. And I'm going to calculate it, get my square footages. So I'm going to draw up all my plans. You ready to go in there, Tig? You want a Scooby snack? Yeah. We got the crows going crazy. So I got my boots on, the grass is wet. And I got my coffee. My mom picked me up some Folgers hazelnut. Oh my gosh, that's good stuff. So I got a cup of coffee. I'm going to map this out. This will take a half an hour. We're going to go all around the house. It's complicated. And then we got the sunroom out there. We got a back porch. And we got a lot of angles to deal with. So I'm going to draw up the north side. And then I'll do the east. I will work all the way, you know, around the house. I just have a sample chart here. We got some different grays going on. So if our trim was here, we would have to pick something against the white. And so I don't have any white trim to go against. I could go against a window. But what we have is I got some trim coil stock, and this midnight blue is really close to Dawson's building over there. He's got two of them the same color with white trim, and they kind of look pretty nice. I'm just not sure it would look good on this house. I did this door in some green. I just happened to be in Lowe's one day, and this was a clearance for, I don't know what the guy said, I'll give it to you for $6 or $9. I said, all right, I'll take it. Brought it home and painted this, painted that, painted that. My mom loves the color, and it's better. It's brightened it up, but I don't know if I want a light color because you can see fingerprints, dirt, you know, cobwebs, whatever. If we go with a blue, I thought of that, and what I have to do, I guess, is probably do all the trim in white and blue, and then the window trim, I would have to go with an off color. And if we did the gray, we'd have to do the same thing. So to me, this is complicated. It's a lot of house. It's not something you can change real quick. So maybe put it down in the comments what you would choose. Let me know if you struggled like I am on picking colors. I know grays are real popular, but I don't want it too light. And there's iron gray, that's kind of nice. And then we'd have to pick a sheen. And then the sheen is on this one. I started to say was, we have a flat, eggshell, satin, semi-gloss, and gloss. And obviously the gloss is going to be the best cleaning, but it's going to be the ugliest. I like satin and I like eggshell. Flat, I think it's hard to clean. You could rub against it and then you leave a mark. And so, you know, I'm leaning towards one of these two. If I tilt this up toward the sun, you can see maybe just a slight gloss to it. And so I got my homework set out. So this video is just basically get my measurements, get my plans, figuring out how complicated this is, subtract, you know, if the window's a 2x5, you know, subtracts 10 square feet per window, whatever. And then my 412, like I said, is every foot it raises 4. So then I'll probably end up taking this distance, which is 12, and divide it by a third, come down and come across to get my square, and then I'll figure out how many gallons. So take a guess on everything I come across, how many gallons of paint, how many 5-gallon buckets I need to paint the house one normal coat. So got my work set out. This is important. I'm going to get this calculated later. I'm going to take some of my color samples I have. I'm going to run down there and see if I can get this superposed, whatever you call it. Bring my house up on their computer, change the colors, and agree on something. Come home with some samples. Maybe I'll paint a section around a window, stand back and say, yuck. Or, hey, there we go. So, thanks for following along. A lot of talk, a lot of jibber jabber, a lot of writing, a lot of measuring, a lot of choices. Thanks for watching.